This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios.
हैन सो 25 वर्ष के त्यसरी मैले यो 10 वर्ष प्लान पनि हैन के हैन हामीले एउटा भिजनेबल 2020 बाटै देखेँ कि मैले हुन्छ नि हैन हामीले बनायौँ तर त्यो हुन्छ नि त्यो लाग्दै थियो कतै न कतै र पेन्डेमिक भइदियो हैन सो यही अनुसारको एउटा 10 वर्ष 20 वर्ष 25 वर्ष प्लान के गभर्नमेन्टमा जोसुकै आओस् काम गर्ने मान्छे त एउटा हुन्छ हैन ल माथिको सेपरेट होला हैन तर काम गर्ने त एउटै हुन्छ नि त हैन
प्लान चाहिँ अनशेकेबल हुनु पर्यो
हैन अनडाउटेबल प्लान भन्नु पर्यो कि हैन दिस इज आवर 25 year plan that we're going to make sure that Nepal comes on top when it comes to tourism.
It is, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of tourism economy in Nepal. And पहिला almost 10 years ago, data I think like every one tourist helps create 6 jobs in Nepal.
Wow.
Like direct and indirect. So then it's like, okay, if we need 60,000 jobs, how many tourists do we need to bring in? Right? I mean, it's like it's data-driven analysis, just basic, very fundamental, raw. And we were doing well. Our GDP, between 7 to 9% of our GDP was coming in from tourism. We like to say agriculture is the biggest contributor of our GDP, but a lot of it is, it's not commercial reasons. It's subsistence farming, is a lot of that. I don't like to count remittance as GDP at all because it's just people working really hard somewhere else and sending money to Nepal and keeping Nepal alive. But tourism is where the real potential is. Now, here's the problem with Nepal right now. We are at a crossroad. We can take 2 paths. We can take the path where we're like, no, अहिले सबै चीज जे गरे पनि हुन्छ अरु देशले गरे थियो हामीले गर्न पाउँछ पहाड खन्ने पहाड बेच्ने खोला बेच्ने खोलाको रिभर बेड बेच्ने बालुवा बेच्ने सबै गर्ने is one path. And we're on that path. We're like deep in that path. That path is in direct collision with what you and I think should happen in this country is tourism. 6,000 एउटा खोला छ देशमा हैन बाइल भर्खर हामीले इन्फर्मेसन दिनुभयो. I guarantee you every river is being mined right now. I've traveled Nepal countless times east to west in the last 15 years. Right? I don't know how many times I've traveled. Every river is being mined for sand, for stone. So this is what's happened. This is what I've seen happen in the last 10 years is from the rivers, we've taken out what is natural. And in those rivers, we're putting in garbage. Because garbage is still river is still our most popular form of garbage management across Nepal. So river ko pani, dunga, balwa चाहिँ निक्लिँदैछ. अनि river मा चाहिँ नि garbage चाहिँ नि जाँदैछ के हाम्रो plastic waste, any kind of garbage. At the same time, then we're not even factoring in climate change. Right? So mountaineering is absolutely going to be a huge part of why people come to Nepal. And that's when if you say you're from Nepal, they say, have you seen Mount Everest? Have you climbed Mount Everest? They think it's like out your window.
Did you run to Everest?
पोहोर साल चाहिँ काठमाडौँबाट त साँच्चीकै देखेँ पोहोर सालको मान्छेहरूले चाहिँ आई हेभ सीन एभरेस्ट भन्न पाउँछ हैन काठमाडौँबाट. But I mean the point being, even the mountains are not safe. ECS मा मैले had written almost 10 years ago climate change and mountain tourism भनेर मैले एउटा आर्टिकल लेखेको थिएँ क्या like is going to become riskier. It's going to become there's going to be unforeseen problems coming up with our mountains because of climate change. So that again already is creating a problem for our 6,000 rivers because all of our rivers are fed by snow and glacier melt from the Himalayas. So these 25 years, what we should actually be doing is strengthening and saving what we have. But we are on the opposite path right now. Every political party probably has a huge stake in the Dungagiti tipper sector. Every landslide you see in Nepal, you will see there is a new dozer road attached to it. Places which never had landslides now have landslides because dozer le bato khane, dozer kasko, guarantee local kune political party ko. So there is no political will or commitment to the vision that should be so basic. If you can think it, if I can think it, you think these people who are supposed to run the country can't think it, is that the 25 वर्ष पछिको कुरा हो. अहिले यो चुनाव अर्को चुनाव अहिलेको यो वर्ष यो सरकार, we've seen it being driven by that. So there is no political commitment to the long-term sustainability of Nepal. That is a huge problem because not only will it affect tourism, it'll affect our agriculture.
Yeah.
And when it affects our agriculture, then we're going to be really, really screwed. Imagine our tarai experiencing desertification. Imagine our tarai not being able to access groundwater. Pani पनि टाइममा परेको छैन, पानी पर्दाखेरि हुरी बतास आएको छ, हेल्सले गर्दाखेरि क्रप्सहरू भएको क्रप पनि ड्यामेज भएको छ, ground water is depleted. Why is groundwater depleted? Because the forest and the hills around were cut down and sold. So why are the floods eating into the farmlands? Why did the floods eat into the farmlands? Because flood the river ko natural sandstone river beds sabai mine out gareपछि it's uncontrolled flow of the river during seasons. So agriculture is what's going to be hit eventually because of our actions. So Gaunjilai pani मैले advice गरेको थिएँ भने like, yes, there's a big problem, climate change, global warming. We had nothing to do with it. We're victim. And Nepal is right now top 10 most affected country by climate change. We had nothing to do with this. This was the Western country. This was the industrialization era, all of that. But who's going to justify what we are doing in the last 10 years and what we plan to do for the foreseeable future? Which is mining, extraction, destruction. So it puts us in this very awkward position where like we go to international forums and we say you must help Nepal to fight climate change and protect our forests and all of that, and then you come home and so it becomes very, very complicated. But if we don't figure this out in the next couple of years, ecologically Nepal is in a very, very shaky ground right now, and our tourism, our agriculture, this 25-year vision that we think the future of Nepal will be incredibly difficult to be realized if it's not controlled now.
How do we control it then? How what are the steps that we take? A lot of people will watch this.
Solution
चाहिन्छ के हैन जे कुरा नि मलाई चाहिँ I love talking about solutions because trust me, we have thousands of problems.
Exactly.
Small things that people can do. I still remember watching an ad on TV. I watched it on TV. There was an ad on TV when I was young. जहाँ चाहिँ के भनेको थियो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ यदि मैले त्यो धारा खुल्लै राखेँ भने हैन त्यो पानी वेस्ट जान्छ के.
Right.
You getting what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
So साबुन लिने, धारा खोल्ने, हातमा अलिकति हाल्ने, बन्द गर्ने, अनि त्यसपछि हात मोल्ने मजाले हैन 20 seconds 30 seconds whatever it is. यो सानै हुँदाखेरि अनि त्यसपछि गएर चाहिँ साबुन राख्ने, धारा फेरि खोल्ने अनि हात धुने हैन, अनि धारा बन्द गर्ने. त्यति मात्र त्यो बिचको त्यो जुन अमाउन्ट छ नि हैन, जुन मैले पानी बचाएँ हैन, anything the water saved नि त.
Exactly.
So अहिले पनि we need solutions के. मान्छेलाई मास्क लाउनुपर्छ भनिरहेको जस्तै हैन. For what we just discussed about as well, the problems that we're facing today and what's going to happen in a super fast pace. Climate change. It's
just going to get worse and worse by the year. By the season.
By the season. An example, I don't know how true this is. Season, every starting season, अलि अगाडि हो नि त. मेको मेको एउटा त्यो स्पेसिफिक टाइम रहेछ. यसपालि जुनमै धकालिएछ के.
त्यही अब 29th is Everest Day, right? May 29 is when it's supposed to conclude. खासमा usually.
हैन यसपालि जुनमा धकालिन्छ होला most probably हैन. So climate change, the things that we are doing to the environment ले गर्दा यो हैन भन्न मिल्दैन नि त हैन. कतै न कतैबाट त ठोक्याछ नि त हैन.
There's no denying at this point.
What's the solution? What is the solution?
I mean, global solutions are wide and large, so domestically चाहिँ नि interesting thing के छ कुरा भने the government knows the problems and solutions. हैन government को documents हरु reports हरु read गर्यो भने they clearly outline यो गर्यो भने यस्तो हुन सक्छ, यसरी mitigate गर्नुपर्छ भनेर. These are all outlined के. तर again, the government sometimes wants to function in one way or knows it has to function in one way, but the people in charge of the government want to function it in a very different way. And that's where the challenge is. Just the Nijgadh campaign, Steve Nijgadh launch I had to do this research because I had to understand, I had to know, before I questioned the government, I had to know what the government has done, has said about this issue. Nijgadhमा हाइवे मात्रै एउटा बनाउनको लागि वर्ल्ड ब्याङ्कको लागि एउटा ठुलो रिपोर्ट सबमिट गरेको थियो नेपाल गभर्नमेन्टले. सो क्लियरली लेखेको छ यो हाइवे बनायो भने यस्तो यस्तो प्रब्लम हुन सक्छ होइन अनि यो गऱ्यो भने चाहिँ प्रब्लम सल्भ हुनसक्छ भनेर त्यो चिज निजगढ एयरपोर्टको लागि गरेको छैन फर इक्जाम्पल होइन
Let's tell everybody where Nijgadh is. Nijgadh कहाँ छ?
Nijgadh is in the district of Bara, हाम्रो southern border भयो central Nepal. काठमाडौँबाट it's almost like सिधै south जस्तै नै छ. Nijgadh is pretty much होइन. Birganj is the biggest city, I guess. Simra पछि Birganj is the biggest city near Nijgadh. It's a forest.
Yeah, jungle.
It's a jungle. त्यहाँनिर एउटा टाङ्गिया बस्ती भन्ने छ भित्र. त्यो चाहिँ पहिला सरकारले नै ल्याएर राखेको थियो बस्ती उनीहरूलाई रिलोकेट गर्ने भनेर. बट अदरवाइज इट्स अ जङ्गल. हाम्रो अरू जङ्गल चितवनसँगै जोडिनु पुग्छ त्यो जङ्गल चाहिँ नि बेसिकली होइन. तर अब त्यसलाई काट्ने प्लान छ. त्यो काट्दाखेरि प्रब्लम हुन्छ भनेर सरकारलाई थाहा छ. किनभने सरकारकै रिपोर्टमा मैले मेरो आँखाले पढेको हो दिस इज गन बी अ प्रब्लम भनेर. त्यो प्रब्लम कसरी सल्भ गर्ने भन्ने कुरा सरकारलाई थाहा छ किनभने वर्ल्ड ब्याङ्कले पनि हामीलाई पैसा दिएको थियो त्यो प्रब्लम सल्भ गर्ने सल्युसन खोज्नको लागि. एडिबीले पनि दुनियाँभर युएस एड ब्रिटिस एड एभ्रिबडी गेभ अस मनी टु फिगर आउट हाउ टु सल्भ दिस प्रब्लम एन्ड वी रोट अ भेरी नाइस रिपोर्ट सेइङ at least these things have to happen, then we avoid the problem. But the problem is none of those things happened. So on paper is all good. You could, on paper we know exactly how to figure this out. But in practice we don't want to, because the issue at the center of this and so identifying the problem, and यसमा ढुङ्गा गिटीको किन त्यसरी भइरहेछ निजगढ किन is money, right? Nijgadhko trees are estimated to be worth, if you cut it down as planned, $500 million.
This is to make the airport.
This is to make what was once the second international airport, but now would be the fourth or fifth. Yeah, fifth international airport.
Pokhara cha, Lumini cha,
and Kathmandu cha. So this is for an airport plan, and so as we were talking earlier, it's like when I say I'm running a Save Nijgadh campaign, people say, "Oh, you are against the airport," and then I have to say, "When did I say I was against the airport? I'm for the forest."
Yeah.
And I didn't say don't make an airport. I said save the
make
forest.
Make many airports.
Yeah. If Nepal needs an airport, there's like a birodbadi, dollar kheti bhancha haina. It's like I don't understand these arguments. I'm saying airport banaunu parcha bhane ta airport jasto project banaunako लागि ta euta research huncha, documentation huncha, pros and cons, cost analysis, need, haina, growth projection, basic things that anyone does when starting a company, a project or anything, हैन. त्यो नगरिकन चाहिँ नि किन यो लोकेसनमा चाहिँ नि रुख काट्न यति हतार. Like I was telling you earlier, right? So we are cutting the tree down for the airport. Does the airport have a financier? No. Does the airport have a developer? No. Does the airport have a user? No. Do you even have a license to make this airport? No. Why are you cutting down the trees? For the airport. Does the airport have a developer? No. Does the airport have a... it's like running around in a crazy circle. And so problem चाहिँ political will is rather to take profit from natural resources than to manage it for the long-term sustainability of Nepal. Solution is you do the due process. You challenge, first you engage the government. त्यो गरेछ हैन भएन government didn't care. Then you even take it to the court. Court मा पनि लग्यो. Court को rule bypass गर्नको लागि भूपू पर्यटन मन्त्री योगेश भट्टराईजीले झुट बोलेर बाइपास गर्नुभयो. अनि मैले के सोचेँ भने मैले त्यो झुट चाहिँ नि इस्टाब्लिस गरेँ भने यो रोकिन्छ भनेर मैले दह्रो रिसर्च गरेर झुट प्रमाणित गरेर नेपाली टाइम्स हिमाल खबर पत्रिकामा आर्टिकल पनि छाप्यो. त्यसमा चाहिँ के छाप्यो भने प्रोजेक्ट डेभलपरै छैन, गएको 9 महिनासम्म चाहिँ नि सरकारले झुट बोलिरहेको थियो, स्विस कम्पनीले बनाउँछ भनेर मैले इस्टाब्लिस गरेँ. अनि त्यसपछि रुटिन अफ नेपाल बन्दले गएर मन्त्रीज्यूलाई सोध्नुभयो. अनि कशिशले त आर्टिकलमा त तपाईँले भनेको गल्ती छ, एयरपोर्ट बनाउने मान्छे नै छैन भने मन्त्रीज्यूले अब हामी आफै बनाउँछौँ भनिदिनु भयो क्या. कसरी नेपालले बनाउँछ? $3.5 billion को प्रोजेक्ट होइन. अक्सिजन किन्न पैसा छैन रे, आइसियु बनाउन पैसा छैन, भेन्टिलेटर बनाउनु पैसा छैन, नचाहिने एयरपोर्टको लागि $3.5 billion चाहिँ कसरी हुन्छ नेपालको लागि होइन. हामी वी आर नेपाली जनताहरू आर क्याम्पेनिङ अराउन्ड द वर्ल्ड अहिले. अस्ट्रेलिया, युरोप, युके, क्यानाडा, अमेरिका, वी आर सेइङ हेल्प अस होइन. नेपालीहरू काठमाडौँमा बसेर इन्टरनेसनली फन्डरेज गरेर क्षेत्रपाटीको हस्पिटलमा चाहिँ नि अक्सिजन कन्सन्ट्रेटर र अक्सिजन के अरे सिलिन्डर दिन खोजिरहेछ होइन. सो त्यो अवस्थामा हाउ डज अ कन्ट्री लाइक नेपाल or why has a country like Nepal not said unnecessary projects on hold? Money has to be better directed. $3.5 billion Nijgadh airport ko लागि छ भने You said नेपालीहरूले घरमा खाना खानु पाउँछ, लकडाउन मात्रै गरेर हुँदैन होइन. I think 3.5 billion, sorry, not million, $3.5 billion if Nepal has for an airport. I think it is important यो लकडाउनमा चाहिँ जो लाइभलीहुडमा एफेक्ट भएको छ वेलफेयर हुनु पऱ्यो नि त होइन. Just an example, because I'm pretty sure Nepal doesn't have $3.5 billion for the airport. भना मात्रै हो, किनभने सुप्रिम कोर्टले के भनेको थियो भने डेभलपर नहुन्जेलसम्ममा रुख काट्न पाउँदैन. सो कोहीले कोही त डेभलपर भनेर देखाउनु पऱ्यो. लास्टमा नेपाल सरकार डेभलपर भनेर देखायो भने रुख काट्नलाई टेक्निकली कोर्टको पर्मिसनलाई कोर्टको अर्डरलाई बाइपास गर्न मिल्यो क्या. सो आई थिङ्क द्याट्स द ओन्ली रिजन द्याट सेड इट होइन. सो सल्युसन के हो भने अब डेमोक्रेटिकली विभ इन दिस केस, इन निजगढ केस, सल्युसन्सहरू एक्जस्ट भयो. स्ट्रिट प्रोटेस्टमा सुरु भयो, गभर्मेन्टलाई क्लोज मिटिङमा इङ्गेज गर्यो डिफ्रेन्ट ग्रुप्सहरूले, सुप्रिम कोर्टसम्मै गयो होइन, के पनि चलेन. सो मैले क्याम्पेनमा के गरेँ भने देन यु टेक इट टु द नेक्स्ट लेभल इज लाइक नेपाल टेक्स अ लट अफ मनी फर forest conservation from the Americans, from the British, from the Europeans, from ADB, from World Bank होइन. So I told them, look, अस्ति भर्खर यस्तो agreement sign गरेर छ नेपाल गभर्मेन्टसँग. Nijgadh project is already violating this agreement. So what do? Someone has to be accountable. होइन. Government is not going to answer to me, but you are World Bank. You gave us money. कतिसम्म भयो भने निजगढ 12 जिल्लामा छ होइन, प्रोभिन्स 2 प्रदेश नम्बर 2 मा. वर्ल्ड ब्याङ्कबाट नेपाल सरकारले 17.8 हो कि 17.1 मिलियन डलर लोन लियो प्रदेश 2 मा वन संरक्षणको लागि. प्रदेश 2 मा वन मास्ने पनि योजना फेरि नेपाल सरकारकै छ. सो वी आर टेकिङ मिलियन्स अफ अलमोस्ट $18 million in loan for forest conservation in Pradesh 2, but we are also destroying one of the oldest forests in Pradesh 2 for no justification. So unless अब एट दिस पोइन्ट सल्युसन कस्तो लेभलमा पुगिसक्यो भने पोलिटिकल विल कसरी चेन्ज गराउने क्या, बाई हुक अर बाई क्रुक. नेपाली जनतालाई मान्दैन भने अब सल्युसन द्याट आई स इन निजगढ केस वाज इङ्गेज आवर डोनर कम्युनिटी, बिकज हामीलाई त टेरेन, कोइला त टेर्ला नि, अब उनीहरूलाई पनि टेरेन भने वी लुज द फरेस्ट जस्ट लाइक वी लुज हिल्स इन चुरे, जस्ट लाइक वी लुज रिभर्स इन द तराई, एन्ड देन वी गो डाउन अ भेरी टेरेबल पाथ. देन वी डोन्ट गेट टु वेयर यु एन्ड आई थिङ्क नेपाल सुड गेट टु. तर अब इन्डिभिजुअल लेभलमा के एक्सन लिने, आई मिन इङ्गेजमेन्ट हो, अब के गर्ने. इट्स भेरी हार्ड, यु नो. देयर इज नो इजी सल्युसन टु इस्युज लाइक दिस इफ द गभर्मेन्ट इज अनविलिङ टु. अमेरिकालाई ट्रम्प हुँदाखेरि भाँच्दै हो बेसिकली, यु नो. भएको नियमहरू पनि उल्टो पुल्टो गरिदियो. सो इट्स आइ एम सरी द्याट आई कान्ट गिभ यु लाइक अ क्लियर एन्सर अन वाट द सल्युसन, बट द्याट इज वाट द प्रब्लम इज लाइक.
जस्ट टु टेल यु समथिङ राइट हियर होइन, यु टक्ड अबाउट ट्रम्प राइट, उल्टो पुल्टो गर्यो. Where is Trump today?
Out.
Right? If you love what we are doing, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notification.
This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios.